Welcome to the Jill on Money Show. It's Thursday, July 24th, and we are here trying to help you navigate your financial journey. As I've said, we are like Waze or Google Maps for your money and your life. And so if you'd like some direction, you want to know what the routes are that are possible, just go to our website, jillonmoney.com. And in the upper right-hand corner, there is a Contact Us button. Click that button. And if you would like to join us live, check the box and we will do everything else. Mark will do everything else. I do nothing. I just talk to you. Oh, Mark, I meant to tell you this is sort of a funny thing because I've been really, trying to figure out how artificial intelligence is going to help me and Mark in our lives. And, all different things that could or could not do. But I was reading this long article about AI. And I realized this is why our jobs here on this program might survive. This was a really interesting, the New York Times did a Sunday Times magazine. Mark, do you get the physical Times on Sundays or not?
No, not anymore.
Not anymore? Okay. Well, the physical magazine, which was so great, it was all on AI. I think it was mid-June. There was an article about how biography changes, like when you're writing about events in history, how it might change with AI. So I wrote down this quote because I thought it was like a reason why I think we could continue to exist, Mark. So this is good. So the quote is, where biography is a form built on the vagaries of human experience, artificial intelligence offers a form of knowledge stripped of experience. So in other words, what ChatGPT or Gemini or Claude, what these models, these large language models are doing is that they are basically kind of taking nuance of language and predicting what comes next, right? This is the next part of it. Even the boosters of AI readily concede its poor grasp of character or human motive, which is notoriously coiled, cloudy, contradictory. To understand motive requires some sense of the raw matter of experience, of its quiddity, which is an excellent word, of the body's way of knowing and remembering. The bots scrape up those aspects of motive that make it into language, and it's big, blunt language. AI only knows to enter through the front door. It cannot yet observe the true story happening elsewhere, always in a back room somewhere, sometimes between two people, just passing their good ideas between each other. So, Mark, I feel like this is the whole saving grace of what we're doing, which is it means that because we actually have experience and we are able to talk to people and understand their motives, that saves us. So I think we're good for another couple of years till AI gets to that point. You feel better about that or not?
I need more than a couple.
All right. Well, maybe
A few.
3 to 5. I think we're going to be good for 3. 3 is good. I can give you 3. Anyway, let's do some emails, okay? And if you have some insights about AI and how it's impacting you and your job, and you want to share them with us, just again go to jillonmoney.com and click the Contact Us button. Okay, David writes, who says, I'm contacting you after listening to your radio show on the weekends. It's great stuff. Oh, by the way, we have a radio show. You can find that under the radio link on our website. David says, I have been unsuccessful in getting my wife to believe that going to a CPA and a fiduciary is a good idea. But now I'm up against the wall and I'm desperate for some sound advice. Okay, here we go. David writes, I'm 65 and I'd like to retire. I'm the sole breadwinner. I have $640,000 in my 401k. And if I were to take my pension in a lump sum, I could get about $423,000. If I don't take the lump sum, the monthly benefit would be $1,500. And that would be with a 50% survivor. Social Security should be about $3,000 a month. We've got $275,000 in cash savings account. Question, should I take the lump sum and roll it into the 401k and invest it to generate income, or should I take the monthly pension amount? My wife prefers the guaranteed pension monthly amount. We did not take risk in our younger years. We're paying for it with very little return in our investment choices. It seems that the few times I did diversify, it backfired. I ended up on the short end of things. I found myself going back to a safe 2% return. My wife will not qualify for Social Security, so when I take hers, she'll get half of mine. That is correct. He asked, is that correct? Home is paid for. Property taxes are increasing. I worry about the buying power of our dollars. I have no life insurance on myself. The premiums are now expensive. I worry about one medical event wiping us out if I were to retire early, but I don't know how much longer I can keep going. The 4 a.m. wake-ups are taking their toll after 37 years. Okay, David. She likes the consistency, that $1,500 a month. I guess one thing about taking that monthly benefit would be that they're starting to get the money out of the account. So if they have $4,500 a month, here's a question that I'm going to put back at you, David. Can you live on $4,500 a month? That's a big question. And if you can, then maybe you take the monthly pension because it will give her it'll kind of ease her mind. If you can't, and that you're going to have to eat into what you've saved, then we've got a problem. So would you consider giving up the 4 a.m. workout, but doing something else, little side hustle, little something? I need a little bit more information, but I have to say that my inclination is maybe to get that monthly benefit just to make her feel better. Then you'll have your Social Security. And if you can live on $4 or $5 grand a month, then you'd be okay. It wouldn't be great, be okay. So I need a little bit more information though, for sure. Okay. Kathy says she just changed jobs and she says, I don't know what to do with my 401k from my previous employer. My new employer does not offer a 401k and I'm 4 years away from retiring. I can't believe people don't have 401ks. It's crazy. Okay. Kathy, when you have an old retirement plan, there's 3 basic options. One would be to keep the old 401k where it is. If that's allowed with the plan, and maybe it's a good plan, maybe it's got Vanguard funds or Fidelity funds or T. Rowe Price or Charles Schwab. If it's a good plan, maybe keep it there. Easy. The second option would be if you did have a 401k, you could roll it over, but you don't. And then the third option would be you could roll it into an IRA rollover account at one of the big, I would say the big houses that offer cheap index funds. Again, when I say that, when people are hearing this, I don't want you to think it's anything too esoteric. I'm talking about Fidelity or Schwab or Vanguard or T. Rowe Price or E-Trade. If you can manage the money yourself, you just roll it over. Because you're just a few years away from retirement, I'm not even so sure you need to do anything else beyond that, but I'd love to hear more about what's going on. But those are your basic options when you have an old retirement plan. Leave it where it is, move it into a new plan, which you can't do, and the third being move it into an IRA rollover account. Okay. Here is from Georgianne, who says, I have a universal life insurance policy. It was taken out when I was 29. I am now 69. God bless you. You had that for 40 years. The surrender value, which means, just to be clear, gang, it means you've paid into this policy that stays in place for your entire life. That's why it's a form of permanent life insurance. The surrender value is now $7,125. It's a $50,000 policy. And by the time I get to 83, then the surrender value will go down. That's because you'll be paying premiums for all of that. Question. I'm wondering, should I surrender this, get the $7,000, invest it elsewhere, or keep it? Chances of me living past 83 is hopeful. Thank you for your advice. Here's the thing. I guess that it depends on what else you have. If you have other assets and nobody really needs this money, then, I think if you had $7 grand and you invested it, could it be 50 grand in 20 years? Maybe not, but maybe you just want the money and maybe it's not worth it. And if you were to live beyond 83, then it really stops being worth it. So I'm interested in maybe getting out of it, but I'm not willing to say that today until I know what else is going on in your life and who is relying on you for the assets upon your death. Okay. John writes, Hi, Jill and Mark. Third marriage for both of us. How about that? My wife is retiring in 2 years. She will be 63. I will be 70. If she applies for her Social Security benefit, it would be $2,700. My regular Social Security benefit would go to $1,750 up to $700 due to spousal benefits. I'd be entitled to half of her full retirement age payment of approximately $3,500. With my pension and Social Security payments, our monthly income, 10 grand, which would cover our monthly expenses without touching our retirement funds, which are about $1.5 million. Does it make sense to apply at that point? We're both in good health. Okay, everybody listen up. When you're in good health and you don't need the money, we think you should always wait until your full retirement age, 67, or potentially age 70 if you can wait, because it just makes more sense. You get more money. And especially if you're in good health, then you're going to outsmart the model. If you're not in good health, then you take it early. But there's no reason to take it early in this case. There really isn't. And I think that waiting is always preferable if that's possible. Again, if that's possible. All right, Jeff wants to know, should I focus more on building up my brokerage account? That is the subject. Hello, Jill and Mark. We love your show. Thanks for everything you do. So Jeff says, I have a question regarding my allocation. I am 58. My wife is 60. I'd like to retire in 2 years at age 60, if possible. Okay, we spend about $8,000 a month. Our only debt is the mortgage on the house. $70,000 remains. The rate is 3.375%. Okay, the savings, we have traditional 401k, $855, Roth, $95, rollover IRA, $282, Roth IRA, $39. There's $32,000 in a brokerage account, $16,000 in savings, plus another $44,000. So $60,000 in savings or high yield savings. Okay, pension. Oh my God, he's going to get a pension, and so he's got in 2 years. If he wants to withdraw starting at age 60, it's about $2,400 a month. If he wants to wait until withdrawal at age 65, it's $4,000 a month. Oof. Social Security, $4,000 at age 67, $5,000 at 70. Wife claims half of his. They max out their 401k. Should I use some of that money to boost my brokerage account, especially if I were to retire at 60? Yes. Here's what I think. Well, let me do two things. You have a Roth 401k and you have a traditional. I have no problem actually putting money in the Roth. I would not put more money into the traditional because you definitely are going to have an issue. It seems to me that if you're spending $8,000 a month and you're going to get a pension at age 65 of $4,000 and then another $4,000 at age 67, you're in great shape. But you are going to have money that needs to come out of this traditional environment, that $855 in your traditional 401k plus the $280 in the rollover. So I think what I would probably do is this. Again, I don't know all the ins and outs, and I like hearing your voice when I have these kinds of conversations. My guesstimate would be that if you feel like you want to pull back and just not put any more money into retirement and build up the brokerage account, that's fine. Otherwise, just put it in the Roth. That's fine. Now, in 2 years, what happens? You are going to have the ability to pull money out of the pension, but I wouldn't do it. I'd wait unless you're in bad health again. But if you wait for those 5 years from 60 to 65, start pulling money out of that money that hasn't been taxed yet. And then what you can do is you'll live on that money, you'll reduce that burden in the future, and then you'll take your Social Security either at 67 or 70. Again, it really depends on your health, and you're in great shape. I don't think I have a big preference on using money to go into your Roth versus your brokerage. I don't know if you do, Mark, but I feel fine about where they are. Just know that I don't think, again, unless you have bad health, I don't think you should start withdrawing at 60. Do you agree with that, Mark?
100% in terms of Roth versus brokerage. I mean, we're only talking about 2 years. It's not going to make a difference really either way. But, if you are going to do the brokerage, then at least contribute enough to get the match.
Exactly. And otherwise, you can do whatever you want. It's not going to be a bad thing either way. And you're in great shape. How amazing is that? I like people who are in these positions where it's like, all right, I can start the clock when I want to. It's really good to plan this out. So if you are seeking some guidance about what to do next, and hey, young people, if you're not thinking about retirement, that's okay. Whatever's on your mind actually is important to us. So just go to our website, jillonmoney.com, click the Contact Us button, write us a note, and give us a lot of detail. Or if you're going to come on the program, check the box. Mark will do everything else, and we'll bring you on the air. It's so much fun. as you know, that we also have a subscription service. It's called Jill on Money Live. That's where you have access to quarterly live webinars, the back catalog, bonus audio and video content. It's all for $45 for the next 12 months. What a deal. Fantastic. You can subscribe to us on the Odyssey app or wherever you find your favorite podcasts. Try to do something nice for someone else today. Change your work, change your wealth, change your life. Thank you for listening, and we'll talk to you tomorrow.